lamps, lights, and the festivity. It lights up the whole world, all lives, and spreads prosperity. Let there be light in your life, prosperity and happiness. Happy Diwali to you. Be rich, information rich also at the same time. Watch News Analysis. Welcome again to News Analysis. News Analysis, a weekly magazine on current affairs. We'll begin it with the main points. Brexit, European Union agrees to Brexit delay, but no date yet. Boeing 737 MAX line air crash caused by series of failures. Essex lorry deaths, Vietnamese families fear relatives among dead. The TV show that has transformed a whole nation, especially the Hinduism. California wildfire sparked minutes after electrical failure. Uluru climbing ban, tourists scale Sacred Rock for final time. Ishu Sugawara, minister quits after gifting melons and crabs to constituents. Now we will go to the stories in detail. Brexit, European Union agrees to Brexit delay, but no date yet. European Union ambassadors have agreed to delay Brexit, but will not make a decision on a new deadline date until next week. The European Commission said work on this would continue in the coming days. The talks came after Chancellor Sajid Javid admitted the government's deadline to deliver Brexit next Thursday can't be met. Boris Johnson said he was waiting for the European Union to decide what they wanted to do. MPs are expected on Monday to consider the Prime Minister's call for an early general election. Mr. Johnson says he wants to hold one on 12 December if the European Union offers a Brexit delay until 31st January. But the chances of enough MPs backing the motion, which requires the support of 2/3 of the House of Commons, appear uncertain, with Labour not committing to how it plans to vote. Leader Jeremy Corbyn said he was only prepared to agree for an election once the Prime Minister had completely ruled out, to my satisfaction, the possibilities no deal Brexit. My position is we have got to get no deal taken off that table first, he told a TV program titled Morning Program. Providing the Prime Minister comes to Parliament on Monday and makes it absolutely clear he is going to make it sure that there is no crash out, because his deal includes the possibility of a no-deal exit. If he comes on Monday and says that, then okay, he added. Boeing 737 MAX line air crash caused by a series of failures. A series of failures led to the crash of a line air flight, which killed 189 people and led to the grounding of the Boeing 737 MAX, a report has found. Investigators said faults by Boeing, Lion Air and pilots caused the crash. 5 months after the disaster in October last year, an Ethiopian airline plane crashed, killing all 157 people on board, which led to the grounding of the entire 737 MAX fleet. Faults with the plane's design have been linked to both the crashes. On Friday, air crash investigators in Indonesia released their final report detailing the list of events that caused the Lion Air jet to plunge into the Java Sea. From what we know, there are 9 things that contributed to this accident. Indonesian air accident investigator Nurcahyo Utomo told reporters at a news conference. If one of the 9 hadn't occurred, maybe the accident wouldn't have occurred. Essex lorry deaths, Vietnamese families fear relatives among the dead. At least 6 of the 39 people found dead in a lorry trailers in Essex may have been from Vietnam. The press knows 6 Vietnamese families who fear their relatives are among the victims. They include Pham Thi Tra Mi, 26, who has not been heard from since she sent the last text message on Tuesday saying she could not breathe. 2 people are being held on suspicion of manslaughter and the lorry driver is in custody on suspicion of murder. Ms. Trami's brother Pham Ngong Tuan says she had paid £30,000 to people smugglers and her last known location had been Belgium. The smugglers are understood to have returned money to families of suspected victims. The last message relatives received from Ms. Rami was at 22:30 BST on Tuesday, 2 hours before the trailer arrived at the Perfleet terminal from Zeebrugge in Belgium. Her brothers told the reporters, "My sister went missing on 23rd October on the way from Vietnam to the UK, and we couldn't contact her. We are concerned she may be in their trailer. We are asking the British police to help investigate so that my sister can be returned to the family." Ms. Rami's family have shared the last text messages she sent to her parents. Translated, they read, "I'm really sorry, Mom and Dad. My trip to the foreign land has failed. I'm dying. I can't breathe. I love you very much, Mom and Dad. I'm sorry, Mother. I'm sorry." A TV show that has transformed a whole nation, especially Hinduism. During 1987 and 1988, Indian State TV broadcast a series that adapted to the epic Hindu poem, the Ramayana, for a modern audience. Some believe this set the path for a national Hindu consciousness, writes a columnist in BBC. As a teenager growing up in late 1980s in London, visits to New Delhi were like stepping into another world totally. On those trips, on such journeys, one had to swap between Batman comics for Amar Chitragatha, comic books depicting wondrous Hindu mythology, cans of cherry coke for a glass bottle of Campa Cola, and 4 terrestrial TV channels for one single Doordarshan. Whereas in London, one can pester his parents to watch Neighbours and EastEnders, in Delhi, they insisted one must join his grandparents, aunt, uncle and cousins to watch one single program, the Ramayana. Ramananda Sagar's TV adaptation on the epic Hindu poem, the Ramayana, tells a story of Crown Prince Lord Ram, who is banished into exile for 14 years and must rescue his kidnapped wife from the clutches of a 10-headed Rakshasa, Ravana. The victory of light over dark and Lord Ram's return home to the kingdom of Ayodhya is the basis of Diwali, the festival of light celebrated by Hindus, Sikhs and Jains that also marks the new year for some communities. In the run-up to Diwali this year, on 27th October, Ram Leelas, folk plays of the Ramayana, are performed in schools, halls, markets and on street corners, in cities, towns and villages, just as the Nativity is being celebrated before Christmas among the Christian communities. Over the course of 18 months in 1987 and 1988, Sagar's telling of the epic through the 78 weekly 45-minute episodes broadcast on Sunday mornings on India's only TV channel, Doordarshan, became the most successful TV show in Indian history, with popular episodes watched by a staggering 80 million to 100 million people, an eighth of the population. The Ramayana's special place in India's cultural memory explains why the TV series became a phenomenon. But no one could have predicted it's going to be a part and parcel of everyday Hindu life, the whole world. As Arvind Rajgopal, professor of media studies at New York University, author of the book Politics After Television, explains in cities across northern India, public life ground to a halt. Trains would stop at stations, buses would stop, and passengers would disembark to find a roadside place with a TV. The crowds were so big, people would be unable to see or hear the TV, but the point was about being present, being there just to witness it and to participate in the holy activities. Streets would be deserted, shops would be closed, and people would bathe and garland their TV sets before the serial. And they'd fold their hands and pray before the TV before the serial started. They, before the broadcast begins, would burn incense sticks and perform a puja, a prayer ritual, in the home shrine before sitting on the floor barefoot and covering their head with a chuni reverentially to watch the show, along with many generations of the family. A TV show powerful of bringing sort of a national integrity, Ramananda Sagar's Ramayana. That's the power of the public media called TV. Anyhow, the Novu media, social networks is superseding this. California wildfires sparked minutes after electrical failure. A fast-moving wildfire in northern California was sparked 7 minutes after a nearby power line was damaged, according to a local power company. Pacific Gas and Electric (PG&E) said in a statement that a high-voltage tower was reported damaged nearby to the place where the Kincaid fire started. About 40,000 people have been evacuated from their homes in the state by wildfires driven by powerful winds. The deadliest wildfire in the state's history was caused by PG&E power lines. The company said it had not yet determined if the power glitch sparked the latest blaze, known as the Kincaid fire. We still at this point do not know what exactly happened, PG&E Chief Executive Bill Johnson told reporters. The utility said it had turned off the power nearby over concerns that high winds could spark blazes. However, the lines were still working when the fire ignited. Roughly 2,000 residents have been evacuated because of Kincaid fire. Uluru climbing ban. Tourists scale sacred rock for final time. Huge crowds scrambled up Australia's Uluru for the final time on Friday ahead of a ban on climbing the sacred rock. The giant monolith, once better known to visitors as Ayers Rock, will be permanently off limits from Saturday. Uluru is sacred to its indigenous custodians, the Anangu people, who have long implored tourists not to climb. Only 16% of the visitors went up in 2017 when the ban was announced, but the climb has been packed in recent weeks. The final climbers faced a delayed start due to the dangerously strong winds, one of many reasons Uluru has been closed to people wishing to reach the top over the years. The walk can be hazardous too, with dozens dying since the 1950s. The high temperatures in the area, which can reach up to 47 degrees centigrade or 116 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer, mean visitors have died of dehydration and other heat-related problems. But the steep and slippery climb to the summit, which stands 348 meters, that means 1,142 feet high, can also prove dangerous. Just last year, a Japanese tourist died while attempting to ascend on one of the steepest parts of the rock. Ishu Sugawara, minister, quits after gifting melons and crabs to constituents. Japan's new trade minister has resigned after being accused of violating election law. Media reporters said Ishu Sugawara gave his Tokyo constituents expensive melons, oranges, raw and royal jelly. He is also said to have offered condolence money of 20,000 Japanese yen. In dollars it is 185 and in pounds it is 145 to the family of a supporter. Japan's election law bans politicians from sending donations to voters in their home constituency. The allegations first surfaced in a weekly magazine, Shukan Bunshin, which said that Mr. Sugawara's secretary had offered about 20,000 yen to the family of a constituent who had passed away. It's customary in Japan to give money as condolence to grieving families, what is known as incense money. The magazine also printed lists of gifts that had been sent by his office, including cordial and oranges, as well as the thank you letters he allegedly received from the recipients. Kartarpur Corridor, India and Pakistan signed deal on Sikh temple project. India and Pakistan have signed a deal that will allow pilgrims from India to visit one of the Sikhism's holiest shrines in Pakistan without a visa. The Kartarpur Corridor is a new entry point giving access to the Gurudwara Darbar Sahib Kartarpur in Punjab. Tensions between the two countries have often made it hard to access, and this is being seen as a rare cooperation. Sikhism was born in Punjab, a region that was divided during the partition of British India in 1947. Indian and Pakistani officials signed the agreement at 0 point, the international border between the two countries. The temple, located some 4 kilometers, that means 2.5 miles from the border with India, is believed to have been built on the site where Guru Nanak, the founder of the Sikhism, died in the 16th century. Earlier in the week, Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan claimed it was the world's largest Gurudwara, adding that the country would open its doors to Sikhs from across the world. The corridor, which will be opened to the public on 10th November, leads from the border straight to the Gurudwara. But finalizing details about the corridor hasn't been easy, resulting in a protracted process that has dragged on since it was first announced almost a year ago. The corridor will also feature a bridge that will allow visitors to cross over the Ravi River, which flows between the international border and the shrine. India's facial recognition plant, world's biggest, with a tender submission date to procure the National Automated Facial Recognition System (AFRS) just 20 days away, India is closer to install world's largest facial recognition system to track and nab criminals. The National Crime Records Bureau (NCRB) under Home Ministry asked for the bids on July 8, which will be closed on November 8. The winner to provide AFRS will be announced on November 8. The beneficiaries will be Ministry of Home Affairs, NCRB and State Police Forces. The benefits will be a robust system for identifying criminals, missing children or persons, unidentified dead bodies, and unknown traced children, persons all over the country. We'll move on to the alluring world of business now. Infosys announces stock incentives for nearly 7,000 mid-level employees. The development comes as Infosys grapples with allegations of unethical measures being adopted by senior management officials to boost revenues and profits. Infosys has announced a stock incentive option to its mid-level 6,949 eligible employees in the form of restricted stock units (RSU). This is to inform that around 23 lakh stock incentives in the form of RSUs were granted to 6,949 mid-level eligible employees of the company or its subsidiary companies under the 2015 Stock Incentive Compensation Plan. The date of grant for these stock incentives is November 1st, in line with the company's compensation calendar timelines. The development comes as Infosys grapples with allegations of unethical measures being adopted by senior management officials to boost revenues and profits. We will travel through the scintillating world of science. Greta Thunberg, new beetle named after climate activists. A newly discovered species of beetle has been named after young climate activist Greta Thunberg. Nelaptors gretae bears little resemblance to its namesake. It is less than 1 mm long and has no wings, no eyes. The insect does, however, have 2 long pigtail-like antennae. Scientist Dr. Michael Darby said he chose the name because he was immensely impressed by the Swedish teenagers' environmental campaigning. N. gretae was first found in Kenya in the 1960s by William Block, who donated his samples to the Natural History Museum in London in 1978. And from the arena of sports, MS Dhoni, India selector MSK Prasad says team will move on from former captain. India cricket legend MS Dhoni's international career appears to be over after the team's chief selector said they are moving on from the wicketkeeper. Dhoni, 38 years, who has already retired from Tests, has been left out of the India squad for a 2020 series against Bangladesh. He has not played since India's World Cup semi-final defeat in July. Selector MSK Prasad said India are focusing on Dhoni's fellow wicketkeeper Rishabh Pant only. We are moving on in giving opportunities for youngsters, Prasad said. Former captain Dhoni has played 90 tests, 350 one-day internationals and 98 T20s for India. He captained India in all formats, but most notably limited overs cricket between 2007 and 2017, leading his side to global success in the 2007 World T20, 2011 50-over World Cup in India and 2013 Champions Trophy. That's all for now, and before we close this bulletin of news analysis, let's have a recap of the main points. Brexit, European Union agrees to Brexit delay, but no date yet. Boeing 737 MAX line air crash caused by series of failures. Essex lorry deaths, Vietnamese families fear relatives among dead. The TV show that has transformed a whole nation, especially the Hinduism. California wildfire sparked minutes after electrical failure. Uluru climbing ban, tourists scale sacred rock for final time. Ichiro Sugawara, minister quits after gifting melons and crabs to constituents. Thank you for being with us. Be present in the coming episodes also. Be informed. Thank you very much.